Lovely people. Shaban Al Dalou's been on my mind heavily this morning. My sons were 19 a short while ago, both at university like him. And I can't help but think how I would react to my sons being burned alive in a tent by some occupying power bombing me indiscriminately. Not just that, not just the agonizing death that he suffered so needlessly, but what happened to him before. He was a software engineering student, just going on about his life in the confines of the open-air prison that Israel had created for him, but getting on with his life, with dreams, ambitions, memorizing the Quran, going about being a good citizen with a view to helping people in the future. Not only does he get displaced from there, but Israel, for reasons beyond our knowledge, destroyed his entire university, along with every other university and school and medical center and hospital in Palestine. They then displace him a further 5 times before murdering him in the most agonizing death possible. And but for an accident of birth, he could have been my son, right? Think about that the next time you dismiss this whole idea. And before you come back with, yeah, but Hamas, and, oh, but October 7th, as if that justifies the death of this young man, as well as the well in excess of 100,000 other people. Think about this for a second. How many hostages have been rescued by this genocidal mission, this ethnic cleansing project of the Zionists, right? How many people were murdered on October the 7th by the Israelis under the Hannibal Directive? Their own people, their own people. Even if the estimates of Hamas membership, of the militant membership was, I've heard a lot of figures, but let's say at the high end, 40,000 Hamas militants in Palestine at the time of October the 7th. Even if they've killed every single one of them, which we know they haven't, they have murdered 4 times as many civilians, innocent civilians, in pursuit of this idea of eliminating Hamas. When it's very, very clear from their actual conduct over the past year that that's just, a nice byproduct of what they're actually trying to do, which is clear Gaza of its inhabitants in order to annex it, which has been said by their own newspaper, Haaretz, has made this clear that that is their actual ambition. Neither does it explain the attacks on Lebanon, on Syria, and all of those things. And yes, you can say Hezbollah, but Hezbollah would not be involved in this if the original genocide project had not commenced in the way that it did. And so, the whole point of this is to say that if you are still holding on to the idea that Israel is justified in its actions, that this is all just the natural consequence of Hamas deciding to implement what they call a terrorist attack and what others might call an act of attempted liberation, then you are complicit in this, along with the politicians of the West. My Prime Minister, my Foreign Secretary, my entire cabinet are not just complicit, they are actual participants in this genocide. And I pray for the day when Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Antony Blinken, Brian Mast, Josh Shapiro, all of Congress who stood up and applauded Netanyahu 58 times when he stood up and told lie after lie after lie in front of them, all face the consequences of this complicity, of this participation in the slaughter of a people. And again, before you say, well, do you condemn Hamas? No, I don't. Because I've looked at what options were available to the Palestinian people. And they were basically compliance with the oppressive system imposed on them, the martial law, the basic daily harassment, theft, and imprisonment of them for the last 76 years. So compliance, and who would do that in their right mind? Secondly, peaceful protest. Yeah, they tried that. Heard of the Long March of Return? What happened? Nearly 300 of them were slaughtered, multiples of that injured by the Israeli occupying force with snipers, shooting people in the kneecaps and murdering, I think it was 286, but a lot of people. So peaceful protest, that didn't work. Diplomacy, fuck me, right? How many UN resolutions are there against Israel with respect to their treatment of the Palestinians? Almost uncountable, not one of them complied with. And who enforces that? Oh, the Security Council. Who's in the Security Council? Oh, the US, the UK, France, right? They're the Security Council, and they are the allies, complicit in the behavior and efforts of the Zionists. So, diplomacy, absolutely no chance. Camp David, an absolute joke. Even the Israeli foreign minister involved in those negotiations back with Arafat has said if he was Palestinian, he would not have accepted that deal. So all these people going, oh, there's been peace available to them, there's been a two-state solution on the table, you're deluding yourself. You're falling for Israeli propaganda backed up by absolute bullshit from their bought and paid for US and UK politicians. We, as a nation, the UK I'm talking about, and the United States are complicit. And the only way to detach yourself from that complicity is to stand up against the Zionist project, to stand for a free Palestine. Because any other position is participation in this genocide and the death of beautiful young people like Shaban Al Dalou, who did nothing wrong, who led his life in the most exemplary fashion, who was just trying to live his life and was murdered in this horrific way. So, every Zionist, every supporter of Israel, everyone who thinks that these actions are justified, go fuck yourselves.